I forget how to talk when I haven't filmed in a while, and I've been around family that lives in Appalachia for like 3 weeks, so this should be interesting. To be completely honest, I didn't feel like writing a script today for this video, so we're going to react to some Reddit questions. Let's open up ye old Reddit app. Should I do the hot posts or new? I'll go with new. Okay, first one that was just posted 11 minutes ago. It's probably going to be like 3 days ago now because I'm filming this a little bit in advance. I'm not going to include their usernames. I don't think I did that last time either, but report and review making false claims. So here's what they said. I got a review the other day claiming the item I made wasn't handmade. I can post a public response, but the rating they left is going to knock out my star seller rating for the first time since the program started. Is it appropriate to report a review with false information to Etsy, or am I just SOL? Policy in the terms of use indicates a section prohibiting posting content that is false, misleading, or defamatory. What you absolutely do not want to do is respond to a review like this, because what that's going to do is lock in their rating so they can't go back and change it later. The very first thing to do in this instance would be to message the customer. You could say something like, "Thank you for leaving a review. However, my items are actually handmade, and a false review like this is going to negatively impact my shop, so I would be happy to answer any questions or provide proof that it is handmade," something like that, and give them a couple days to respond. If they don't respond and they don't update the review at that point, then I would report it to Etsy. The buyer may have genuinely thought that it wasn't handmade, so if you can prove it to them, they may be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I will update my review." Doing it that way will be a better experience for the buyer and make them more likely to engage with you or buy from you in the future if you manage to convince them that it is actually handmade. Let me see if you can report. I think you can report directly on a review. So let me go into my Etsy seller. Yeah, you can report a review directly underneath of it when you go to view your shop and look at the reviews. You can report it from there, and you can contact them directly from there as well. Even if you get a 1-star review among a lot of other 5-star reviews, it should not knock you out of the star seller. You have to have a 4.8 average, but if you only have a few orders, then obviously a 1-star is going to knock you out of it. So if the customer updates their review, or if Etsy finds that it is a false review, and that should reinstate your star seller. If not, then message Etsy. I forgot to set a timer. I have to mow the grass in exactly 1 hour. How do I use the same shipping label for 2 different orders? A customer of mine placed 2 different orders a few days apart from each other. Both are to ship to the same address. I'd like to package the same items from both orders together to save on shipping costs. I always buy Etsy shipping labels. How can I use the same label to complete both orders? So this is really easy, and I would suggest you do this and potentially refund the customer if they paid shipping twice. If they got like the free shipping over 35 or whatever, it doesn't matter. So you'll pick one of the orders, it doesn't really matter which one, and then you can buy the shipping label and make sure that you combine the weight of both of them. Don't just use what it autofills. Make sure that it is accurate so you're buying the correct amount of postage. And then once you get that label, you can take and copy and paste the tracking number from USPS or whatever service it is. And then you'll go to the other order and mark it as complete. On the right-hand side, there's an option like I think it's the 3 dots, and then you can copy and paste the tracking number into that, and it will count for both orders. And it won't count against you for the star seller thing and having them all shipped with tracking, because it has tracking. It doesn't really notice that it's the same number for 2 different orders, thankfully. What would you do? Repeat customer ordered a personalized item, but the color selection they chose for the text is almost the exact same as the background color and almost disappears on the item. I've emailed them, but there's been no response. This item needs to go in the mail today because it's a 4th of July item. I have 2 options. Option 1, leave the order exactly as is, knowing they probably won't love it for the reasons above. Option 2, the item can technically be reversible, so on one side put the color they want, and on the other side use a similar shade that's lighter so it shows up. Which option would you do? The first thing I thought was maybe they did it on purpose, like they kind of wanted it to be subtle, like I've seen t-shirts with like a black on black kind of design, so you can still see it because the print is like a different texture. It is really rough when they don't answer your messages, so I would cancel this order. Now it sucks canceling and refunding something, but if they're not gonna like it and might leave a bad review, although if it's a repeat customer, see, if they said that the item can be reversible, I can't think of what item this would be that's reversible and you could put text on 2 different sides. Here's an interesting one that I have not heard talked about before. So they say location algorithm ? Hi guys, new here. Just wondering if your location has anything to do with the algorithm. I'm from Southeast Asia and I've heard some rumors that Etsy takes your location into consideration and only shows your listings to neighboring countries. Etsy is not really used by people in Southeast Asia, by the way. So yes, your location does factor in. You can select whether or not you want to ship only to your country or everywhere or only to certain countries. But it doesn't always favor items from your own country, but it's obviously not going to show you items that can't ship to you. Buyers can also filter their searches by local shops. I've been scouted, so to speak, for a lot of craft shows and things based on my location. I have not attended any of those, however, because they're always like elementary school PTA things, not really a good fit and not going to be lucrative or even profitable for me to set up at, so I don't. But you may get contacted about them and you can do them if you choose to do so. But as far as I know, I don't believe it's going to give you a disadvantage because you're in Southeast Asia or wherever else, because the majority of Etsy's customers are in the United States. So as long as you ship to the United States, you should get seen by quite a few. The only thing that would work against you in this case, really, like on the surface level, ignoring all the other factors like SEO and stuff like that, is your shipping time and the shipping cost, because it is very expensive to ship internationally, especially from Southeast Asia to the United States. And it takes a long time, which also puts people off sometimes. So you may just have a difficult time getting sales because of that, because of the long shipping times and high shipping cost, but there's not really much you can do about it. How can I see sales per section / category? I have 5 to 6 categories and it would be really helpful to see how much stickers have sold this year in comparison to magnets. Is there a way to do this on Etsy, or is this something that I would have to subscribe to eRank to use? I don't think you need eRank for this. Most people are not as anal, I guess is the only word I could think of to describe meticulous as I am. But I have this information in a spreadsheet anyways, so I tally my sales of each item, and then at the end of each month I will add them up and see, like, per month how many did this category versus this category and this category, and then total those up and see like how much each category made. I know it's a bit much and not necessary. I mostly do that to try to see like seasonal trends for my items, but it's not exactly working the way I had hoped. Like, oh, every January I sell more of this item, or every spring I sell more of this item. It doesn't really work like that, at least for me anyways. If you have seasonal items, that could help you see when they start selling, or you know, when they kind of drop off and you should start promoting them less or something like that. You may be able to just go into Etsy and where you can filter your listings by the section and then just look at the how many have sold, but that only gives you the total for like all time. But one person that answered this question didn't see any way to do it on eRank, that you didn't have to add things up anyways. And it is always good to have a backup physical, quote unquote, even if it's not on paper, like on your computer somewhere, of your inventory counts, because as your shop grows, it's going to be more difficult to keep track of things. And if you are just going based on your initial count and then you do refunds, or some get damaged somehow, or you miscounted, things can go wrong and you can sell things that you don't have, or things that you do have are sitting because Etsy thinks it's sold out. So it's better to have a backup copy of your inventory count. Social media presence. I have none. Yep, I know it's kind of strange in this day and age. Anyhow, my question is, how important is it to gain traction and increase sales? I'm starting to sell somewhat trendy items and feel like I might be missing out. Any advice would be so helpful. Yes, it is important, almost vital, I would say, to your business. So you don't have to have social media to get sales on Etsy at all. You can have success within Etsy, but in the long term, it is much smarter to diversify. So if you don't have a social media following and something happens to Etsy, your account gets banned, whatever the case may be, you're screwed. Especially if you start like making it your full-time income. So not only will social media help your Etsy sales, but it will also help you grow off of Etsy and have an audience built up around your work and the things you make, and they will follow you to other platforms, or when you maybe decide to branch off of Etsy and open Shopify or something, then they will be there to do that. I have an entire video about doing social media for Etsy, and it's very in-depth about all of the major platforms that are out there, so check that out. I will link it in the description box. There's a lot of good tips in that video, but just a quick rundown. What I would do in the situation is start with one account. Don't spread yourself too thin. Trust me. I have 2 businesses and like 3 social media accounts for each one, so it's way too much. So pick one to start with. Then once you start growing on there, you can expand to another one. It is pretty easy nowadays to cross-post between different platforms. So if you have like a TikTok, you can take the same videos and post them to Instagram Reels most of the time. Although certain kinds of videos do a bit differently on each platform. I've heard from other sellers and other creatives that Instagram Reels seem to be doing a bit better at the moment. That is always subject to change, but start on one platform, start growing a following, and remember that just because you may browse on it doesn't mean you know exactly how to use it. So I would follow some other accounts that give you tips on how to make content. If you go with Instagram, don't just post your product photos, or if you go on TikTok, don't just post like a 3-second video like showing the product. People don't want to be sold to. They want to connect with a person and then buy from that person. Another commenter under this post said that they have 2,100 sales with no social media. So again, it is possible. They say that you don't need social media. I think you do, but they did make a good point about branding, which I also have an entire video about. You have to stand out in order to get any traction. It's not really like social media is not what's going to make you stand out. It's going to be your branding and how you present your products and your brand. Okay, this is a doozy. How important is it to have one specific niche? Hi, so I've been doing a lot of research on Etsy shops and really want to make a lucrative online small business, but I have a lot of ideas. How important is it to stick to one niche? My current plan is start with digital products, downloadable/printable, then do print on demand, then make my own stickers and sell them, then start to use my Cricut for customized shirts, bags, tumblers, wall arts, cards, etc. Then start to sell handmade non-Cricut items like crochet plushies, painted sneakers, shoes, embroidered shoes and shirts, etc. I have a lot of different niches these things can be in, including my first step of digital products. Then they have examples of things that they want to do, digital products, like planning/tracking, education /teacher, summer camp, chronic illness, college/dorm, high school and college student things, Taylor Swift, Harry Potter, other fandoms, bookish/reader things. Those are pretty different. Does anyone have any advice on how to go about this niche-wise? Okay, my advice for you is to stay off of YouTube. Because, wow. Stop watching the passive income gurus on YouTube. I have a whole video about that as well. This person has been scammed into thinking that this is all going to be easy and make them a lot of money, and this plan is going to just lead to burnout in like a week. Let me give an actual answer. Let me just start at the top of this. So how important is it to stick to one niche? You have to make your own niche. You may think that a niche is something like stickers or painted shoes, whatever else they said. That's not a niche necessarily. You have to have your own like spin on it for it to be considered a niche. But I think why they're asking this is for all of these different steps of the plan. They're talking about it as maybe they think it's going to be one shop. I would absolutely not put all these things in the same shop. That would be way too confusing to buyers because these are not going to be considered the same niche. And it confuses the heck out of people if you have digital download products in the same shop as physical products. So I would not do that either. And that's going to be a lot of work for one person to even get these started, let alone manage them. Because if you want them to be lucrative, this is a lot. Like, even though digital products and print on demand are not physically labor intensive like the Cricut stuff is, you're going to have to keep up with the digital downloads and make new listings for those, manage those orders. Like I said in my video about this, passive income is not there's no such thing as passive income. So you have to still do things with it. You can't just set it and forget it, especially on Etsy. So from that giant list, it looks like they just found like trending keywords, especially because of like the Taylor Swift things, although they might be interested in that. You cannot sell copyright infringed things, especially Harry Potter. Miss Joanne will karate chop you for selling Harry Potter related things. I know several shops that have gotten shut down for selling Harry Potter related, or even having like lightning bolt in their descriptions, so don't go anywhere near Harry Potter. Going along with like the time it's going to take, it's going to spread you thin as far as space if you're trying to do all of this stuff. The Cricut stuff, and then crochet plushies, painted sneakers, embroidered things. Where do you live that you're going to put Cricut machines, the blanks for the Cricut products, yarn for the crochet stuff, all the sneakers and stuff to embroider, or shirts or whatever, embroidery machines? You gotta have a plan for all of this, right? So if this person is really gonna do this, they're gonna have to hire people and rent like a workspace for this to all work. They cannot do this all themselves. No way. Especially if they start actually being lucrative and take off, or one of them takes off. This is too much. I, like the first commenter said, I appreciate the enthusiasm. From my experience trying to have multiple businesses, it's a lot that you're not gonna realize until you're in it and you hate everything because it's too much. Here's a shorter one. Shopify and Etsy stores. For those with both a Shopify store and an Etsy store selling the same product, how do you price like items the same, differently, and if differently, how so? So I do have a Shopify and Etsy. I sell most of the same items. I am getting ready to post some only on Shopify just because they are more unique, and I don't want to deal with SEO for Etsy for them. And I don't want to deal mainly with people asking me to make them in different prints, because Etsy customers get wild with their requests, but I've never had any weird requests for my Shopify, so I'm just going to put them there, but that's besides the point. So it is actually against Etsy's terms of service to sell things on a different website, like the same item, for a cheaper price. So I would take that into consideration. However, a lot of people do it. I don't. I have them the same. Sometimes I run discounts only on my Shopify for my email subscribers. But when you initially set your prices, keep the fees for both in mind so that you end up making a little more from your Shopify sales. And I actually do and would suggest to drive your social media or your email list traffic to your Shopify or other website, because the fees are lower. Actually, wait a minute, let me back up and clarify what I just said. So when I said it's against Etsy terms of service to have a cheaper price somewhere else, they're not going to know unless you link to it. So that's in the terms of service, or like the handbook. They say that you can link to your outside website as long as the prices aren't less. Therefore, encourage people to buy there instead. So that's what I meant by that. Not like Etsy is going to hunt you down. Like, I don't know. Just use your own discretion. But a lot of people do it. Not me though. Newbie question about titles and tags. Hi everyone, apologies for a super newbie question, but I'm a new shop that sells dental student and dentistry stickers. When creating tags, is it better to add individual words like dental and student and stickers as separate tags? Or should I be combining them as phrases like dental student and dental stickers? I also have different sets of stickers. Is it necessary to distinguish the different styles by adding something like design A or style B to the title so they're not all exactly the same? And for listing titles, is it enough to put dental student sticker pack, or should I be adding further descriptive words to this title like dental student sticker pack of 5 stickers, dentistry, dental student, hygienist, to make the title longer? We'll start at the beginning so I don't get sidetracked. Okay, so when creating tags, is it better to add individual words like dental and student and stickers as separate tags? No, don't do that. Very rarely should you ever put one word as an individual tag, because you are wasting space. So you should put phrases like dental student or dental stickers, like they gave an example of, and get more descriptive than that. So you can put like toothpaste sticker or something like that. So as long as you put all of the individual keywords in your tags somewhere, it does not have to exactly match up to like dental student or tooth sticker or something. It can be like tooth student or like a mixture of the two, which doesn't make any sense, but you get what I'm saying. Basically, the algorithm knows that any combination of the words in your tags could lead to your item. So it doesn't really matter what order they're in, as long as they're in there. And if you are just putting like one word, it's wasting space. Then if you have different sets, is it necessary to distinguish them? I would, mainly for your benefit when you pack orders, because you can't really see the picture and you want to make sure that you get the right one that the customer actually ordered. Sometimes mistakes can happen, and you want to make sure that when you print the packing slip or something that it has a distinction between the different ones. So it's not necessarily bad for your listing to have the exact same title, but it's going to help you and the customer differentiate. But I wouldn't put design A or style B, I would be more descriptive. And then for the last part of this, and for listing titles, is it enough to put dental student sticker pack, or should I add further descriptive words? I would not suggest this title that they have written out here. They said dental student sticker pack of 5 stickers, dentistry, dental student, hygienist. Don't repeat words in your title, okay? And in your tags. Try not to repeat any individual words, because that is, again, wasting space. So don't make the title longer for the sake of making it longer, but if you can add relevant keywords in there and not repeat any of them, that's better. When will listings start showing up in search results without paying for ads? I opened my shop a little under a month ago and have 34 sales, but my listings still don't show up without ad spend. My SEO seems pretty good, the ads are working, I show up in the places I'd expect to under the targeted search terms, but without ads, things like t-shirts and mugs will show up before my items do when I'm searching for items in my category. For example, I search bookish stickers and shirts and mugs and stuff will show it before my stickers do. Could it be because no one has left any reviews? First of all, that's incredible that they have 34 sales in less than a month. Yay for them. The first mistake was paying for ads. I mean, if they got sales from it and it didn't work, that's great, but I would not recommend that to everybody just starting out. I talked about this in depth in a previous video, I think the last one I posted actually, that basically Etsy ads don't guarantee you sales. They only guarantee you impressions, which is the listing showing up on the search page. It does not guarantee anybody to click on it or be interested or buy it. So if you're not able to take an interested customer and turn them into an actual customer on your own, then ads aren't going to help you. But that's kind of not really the question here. And one commenter put it pretty well, that basically the algorithm for Etsy ads and regular listings is different. It's not like if you're showing up on ads, it's because you're paying for ads, and your listings may not be showing up. And also, searching your own listings doesn't work. So you may rank on the first page for somebody else, but you won't rank for yourself. It's different. Like, that's not how the algorithm works. It's not going to show everybody the exact same page. It is all personalized to that specific person, like their IP address, their device even. So don't count on what you search and what you see in the Etsy search results to be what other people see, because everybody's is going to be different. Basically, an Etsy ad listing and the regular listing are two separate listings. So the ad may have a lot of traction. You may only get sales on an item from ads. And then another item you may do just fine without paying for ads for it. Wow, so the OP spends from $10 to $35 a day. Holy cow. So their logic was, in a comment they said, my ad spend is currently higher than any revenue because I figured if I can front load the ad spend to get sales and reviews, I'll show up naturally in search results sooner and then can taper off the ad spend. That's not exactly how it works. I mean, it goes that way sometimes, but because, like I said, they're effectively two separate listings, so the ones you're getting sales on that are being advertised, not going to guarantee that the exact same listing is going to show up for anybody in the search results organically. It will help once this person gets some reviews, which is inevitable. Like, somebody eventually, they said they have 35 sales, eventually somebody's going to leave a review, but it's difficult, like, with the first little bit. It is even more amazing that they got like that many sales in the first place with no reviews. I would figure out a way to get people to leave reviews, although they may not have gotten the reviews because the orders were so recent. I have ordered some things myself and I have gotten the item, and I still have to wait like another week or two before I can actually review it. So maybe they just haven't yet, or it hasn't asked them to, and you can't even do it if it's too early. Like, it physically will not, like the Etsy website won't let you leave a review until a certain time has passed. I suppose in an attempt to keep people from leaving reviews saying they didn't get the item or something before you even shipped it, or they said they haven't gotten it before it's even had a chance to go through the postal system. It is now time to go cut the grass so I can do it while it's relatively cool outside, and also so I won't quite yet be eaten alive by mosquitoes, maybe only half eaten alive. So I will see you next Sunday.